right, hear ye. The Protection and Policy Committee meeting for February 8th, 2020 is now in session. Roll call. Alder Stevens is excused. Alder Stoyer.
Here.
Alder Vanderleest.
Here.
Alder Scanlon is also present. So there's three of us. We have a quorum. We will continue on with an approval of the agenda.
Motion approved.
Motion approved by Alder Vanderleest.
Second.
Second by Alder Stoyer. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have an agenda for the night. Approval of the minutes from our last meeting, January 27th, 2020. Motion approved by Alder Vanderleest. Seconded by Alder Stoyer. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Our minutes from our last meeting are approved. We are on to regular business in a minute.
Yes.
Okay, number one, consideration with possible action on a Class B combination license for Player2 LLC at 2019 North Washington Street with a licensed premises description as lower bar and upper bar stored in basement. Currently, Bragan Bar LLC has been granted a license at this location. Staff.
Yes, so this establishment, there's two issues. The first one is the establishment is within 300 feet of a church, but it meets the exception as the premise was previously licensed prior to March 25th, 2000. And the church, I believe, came into existence after the license was
I
premised.
forgot about that church there.
Yep. However, the establishment doesn't meet the exceptions laid out in the downtown moratorium laid out by resolution that requires the principal business be that of a restaurant. The applicant has indicated that he intends for service of hamburgers, of food, but only that would only consist of 10% of the business. Accordingly, staff would recommend denial as the establishment would not meet the requirements of the resolution limiting the number of licensed establishment in that area. However, as we've noted previously, the resolution isn't binding. Therefore, the committee does have the discretion on the issue on whether to follow the terms laid out by the resolution or not.
Yes, and that will require a 3/4?
No, there's no majority vote override within the resolution language.
Oh.
I'm not sure if that applies to, there's separate moratoriums all throughout the city, but there is no,
This is just
right.
majority.
It's just simple majority
Okay.
for approval.
Please concur, we don't have any issue with the security plan or business plan with the establishment.
Okay. There's been a
Somebody-
great deal of brouhaha
Yeah, there
surrounding
has.
this issue. I got a few things I can add, but before we go, is there anyone else on staff who cares to speak on this?
Otherwise, I'll make a motion to open the floor.
Okay, motion open the floor by Alder Stoyer, second by Alder Vanderleest, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the floor is now open if there's anybody here who would care to speak on this. Please state your name and address for the record, and if you haven't filled out a form, please fill that out.
Yeah, I didn't, but I will.
Okay, thanks.
Jeff Marcus, Executive Director of Downtown Green Bay Incorporated. We have been working with the property owner, Mr. Ron Snitz, who owns, Presidente was his tenant. He worked very hard to retain that tenant, and that just was not possible. He has been looking for the right tenant, and he shared with me that he is very confident that Player2 is the right tenant for the space. There will be an entertainment component, there will be a food component, and of course there will also be a pub component as well. That moratorium that was put into place 22 years ago, I know downtown has changed significantly since that time. I fully appreciate the desire to reduce those bar-only type establishments. It feels, from what I've seen in working with Mr. Michael Joyce, and by the way, he wanted to be here tonight. He is out of town. We'll be back in town tomorrow if needed. We want entertainment downtown. We want types of establishments where people have something to do. Retail with an entertainment component is what thriving downtowns would like. So we would like the council, or this committee, to make an exception to that 22-year-old moratorium. We feel the business plan is appropriate. They have a proven track record in another market. There's an article that went online today, and I have a copy of that article for you if you want it. But there's a newspaper article in the Press Gazette Online
Thank you.
that I'm already seeing some enthusiasm about Player2 coming to downtown Green Bay. So we are just here to support this business. This is a property that could sit vacant for a long time if we don't have the right tenant. The two-floor nature of this space, for the past 18 months, Mr. Joyce has been looking for the right place for this gaming equipment. We're talking about historic gaming. He's really into pinball. He's turning his business into his passion. Skeet ball, pinball, Pac-Man. If people who are really into that, that's what they will experience there. From what I can gather, corporate groups, this would be a fun place to go out for dinner, go out and have some fun, and possibly have some drinks. So downtown would like to show its support for Player2 coming to downtown Green Bay.
Any questions? Got it? No?
I confirm.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else before we close the floor? I'll make sure you're part of the
I was
record.
gonna say, I couldn't have said it any better, so.
All right, motion to close the floor?
Motion to close the floor.
By Alder Steuer.
Second.
Second by Alder Van Leest. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. This type of business, or businesses that have been exceptional, have come before us before, that didn't quite fit the moratorium, and we have supported them because they were unique and exceptional, and certainly met the spirit of the moratorium. So I think this is definitely one of those. I am fully behind it. I've gotten input from staff, I've gotten input from Downtown Inc. and other business owners, and many from Facebook and email. The support for this seems to be incredible and overwhelming. Even got a text from the mayor today, so he's behind it too. So I'm all in support of moving forward with this. If there's any other discussion or question?
Yeah,
Calvin?
I've got quite a bit of input too from citizens and that on this. And I think one of the difficult things is when we look at an issue like this, there's always, what are you going to do? How are you going to vote? Da da da. And for me, it's like I really want to hear the talk. I want to hear the committee. I want to hear the citizens. And I think for now, because there aren't that many other folks that are stepping forward, that we have to rely on the Facebook and the other forms of pro or con. So for the most part, it's been a positive, at least that they want to see this happen. So Appleton, it sounds like they've done a good job with that. I remember Green Bay years ago had an emporium of some sort. Remember what that was called? I mean, it was a gaming area on Adams Street.
Gillian's.
Oh, yeah, I remember that name, yeah. I remember in the mall, but anyway.
So, our downtown is evolving, it's changing. We're having more folks moving into the downtown area, and in near west and near east sides, et cetera. I don't have a big problem with it. I think it would add to the fabric of the downtown.
Make a motion to approve.
Before we jump off this though, I would like to ask staff, I seem to remember when this moratorium came up before, this is part of the overhaul that we're doing with the books. I mean, it seems to me there were some issues with it. I mean, like there's no language that this is advisory in the moratorium, and it lists a bunch of bars that are no longer in existence. Weren't we gonna touch this up some, I thought at one time?
Not as part of the chapter 33.
Not as part of chapter, I thought we were doing more than 33 though. I thought we were kind of.
Not that I'm aware of.
Oh, well then, maybe I can put in communication to fix this up some. I haven't looked at it anyway. So, yes?
I just want to say I'm very much in favor of this establishment, and I will support it.
I guess I just had one other question. I know they were talking that it was 10% food.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the entertainment and alcohol percentages, is there a ballpark on that as far as what they were talking about? Not really? Okay. All right.
But as far as food goes, this establishment, I mean, the one in Appleton doesn't have, I mean, they don't have a kitchen. So this is a component that they are excited about adding to it, but just how much of the business it'll end up being, who knows? But it is an exceptional business, and I don't think we need to really worry about. I mean, the moratorium is really meant for more kind of disco kind of clubs, bar, slamming down the brewskis, and I think this is definitely not of that caliber. So,
Okay.
I have not heard any negative, not one negative.
Alder Vanderleest made a motion.
Motion to approve by Alder Vanderleest,
I'll second.
seconded by Alder Steuer. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, that passes unanimously. And I should state, before I go further, that everything we do here at committee is just a recommendation. Council has the final say, and council will be meeting March 3rd, 6 o'clock in the room next door. So. On to number 2, consideration of possible action on an available Class B combination license for Dual Sports Bar LLC at 1114 Main Street. 1114 Main Street,
There you
there we
go.
go. With a licensed premises description as bar dining area. Staff.
This establishment is located in the old main moratorium, also set by resolution. It is also within 300 feet of Minoka School, if I'm saying that correctly.
Rosa
However,
Minoka.
the applicant satisfies the requirements of both the resolution and the school proximity restrictions because the establishment is intended to be that of a restaurant as a principal business with daily food service from lunch through late night.
So,
They satisfy both the resolution.
you're giving it a thumbs
Yep.
up. Okay,
Please concur.
another thumbs up.
Yep.
I don't know if anybody's here to speak, otherwise I'll make a motion to approve.
Well, let's just, I don't know. Motion to approve by Alder Steuer,
Second.
seconded by Alder Vanderleest. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Good to go until, well, March 3rd. It'll be final. Number 3, construction with consideration. Wow. Consideration with possible action on an appeal by Daniel Stevens regarding the denial of his operator license.
Randy, is that the right number? I got 4 and 3.
I think 3 is the reinspection. I'm not sure if something.
Oh, we
The
jumped them out
numbers-
of.
the numbers are
Okay.
The numbers are
I was
switched
just
up?
going down the order thinking that they were
Yeah.
right in order.
I don't submit, or the civic clerk,
Did-
like flip-flop
Okay.
the order, but the numbers are correct, so.
So do 3, I guess. They just flipped it.
All right. 3, consideration with possible action on request by Alder Weary, the appeal by Bob Curry, 302 Oak Street, to rescind the reinspection fees on his property referred from the January 14th, 2020, and the February 4th, 2020 common council meetings. Do we want to hear from staff first? I mean, we've heard already. Do you want to redo that, or should we give?
I don't have anything more to add.
Okay, then why don't we?
Later if I-
Yeah.
Yeah, why don't we?
Well, let I make the motion open the floor.
Motion open the floor by Alder Steuer.
Second.
Seconded by Alder Vanderleest. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, floor is now open. Please state your name and address, and if you haven't filled out one of the forms, please fill out before you go and give it to them.
Bob Corey, 3636 Shawano Avenue. I own a rental property at 302 Oak Street. I guess I'm wondering about the reinspection fees. Just so we're all on the same page, about 4.5, 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago, I got a letter from the city saying that there was cars parked on the lawn. So I checked into it, and the guy says he's gonna put some gravel down on the driveway. So he re-gravelled the driveway, and he added some gravel to it. And then I got a letter saying it was approved. I'll step forward to last summer, and I got another letter saying that the driveway's too wide. So I called up the inspector. We got together, he says, go ahead and, get it done. So he said it was approved back then, but really should have been approved. So now I got all this gravel in my driveway. But a tenant. So it was a very, very rainy year last year, and that property and the property to the north of me, there's a swale in the backyard. There's a swale between me and the neighbor, and there's a culvert under the sidewalk because it's so wet there. It stays wet. So we attempted to get in there, and every time it rained, I tried to call up the inspector and say, it's raining out. So we couldn't do it. And then I got this letter saying it was a $50 fee. And I tried to call him and explain to him, he couldn't get in there. And then I went down and talked to the gentleman behind me, I forget what his name was, the supervisor, so you gotta get it done. So I went there on a Saturday and I did it. I never got any compliance letter. Every time I called up the inspector, I never got an answer, never got a call back. It says right in the letter that said, if you have any problems, just give me a contact us, or there'll be a re-inspection fee. And there's no compliance. I called up Mr. Weary. He tried calling him. He got no answer. And if I can back up for a minute, not on this thing, but about 6 years ago, I got a letter from the city about some paint on a house, different house, and it was Brenda Seidel. And I went over to start working on it, and I had an issue with it. I called her up. She says, well, don't worry about it. Just keep me informed what's going on, and we'll work with you. And I ran another problem. I called her up. There was a deadline, but she said, get the work done and get me informed, and we'll work with you. But when I called up the inspector on this letter I got nothing. There was no callbacks. Just kept getting these letters, a $50 fee, $50 fee. They want to work citizens of Green Bay? That's not working with you. No emails, no nothing. I don't email very good, so I sent one email in the end that was done. And then I got another $50 fee. $200 for, I could see if this was a sidewalk that was heaved, that it was a hazardous to people, or it was an electrical problem, or shingles blowing off the roof that was going to cause a problem with somebody. We're talking about a lawn. And besides that, last summer was the wettest summer ever around here to get any equipment in there. I know it's gravel, but you still got to get off the gravel. You got to put dirt down over it, and you got to seed it. And it's pretty hard, it's wet. Every time it rained out, I try to get some dirt hauled in. It's too wet. They can't haul it in. So I think it's unfair to charge me $200 for a lawn. Besides that, I get no callbacks from the inspector. So that's all I got to say, I guess.
Questions? Yep.
Good. Well, thanks, Mr. Curry, for coming in. I know you missed one of the meetings or something happened.
He called me, sent me email the same day that it was on, and I was busy that day.
Yeah.
Well, and I know you're frustrated, but, I think what happens here too is that, you mentioned that you put the gravel in, and what date was that? I mean, you just kind of said.
It was like 4 or 5 years ago they put it in, but then it was
Right.
okay until they put in another load last year.
I guess what I'm saying is that just, a lot of times you'll say, well, this happened or that happened, but, a lot of times it's nice to get some specifics, as far as dates, like when you did this.
I wasn't there. The tenant did it.
Well,
I didn't do it. The tenant did it. So
right. But did you communicate with the tenant at all? On
when I
this?
got the letter, I said the gravel can't be there. The inspector said it's too wide.
Okay. Well, that's basically what I'm asking. I'm just asking about, dates that you may have had, looking at these various events over time. It's easy just to say something happened or didn't happen, but unless there's specifics, it's a little difficult to kind of get to it. So I want to listen to that, but I also want to listen to inspection and just kind of hear their side of it as well. So that's all I have right now.
Question? I got no questions right now. Okay, thanks.
Motion? unless-
No, let's leave the floor open. Staff can talk while the floor's open in case he needs to
Oh, no.
respond to something.
All right.
Yep, please. It seems like it was a communication breakdown, or is there,
Or,
I remember
It's just the same exhibit from
last time,
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago.
yeah.
So it all started back in March of 2019
Yeah.
with a driveway expansion. That's the first picture. It got considerably wider, which he said the tenant did. There was no communication with our staff as far as calling and giving us an update as to when they'd make the changes or corrections. So you can see there were 2 re-inspection fees. We got involved on June 2nd, but nothing really materialized as far as a plan. And then the next two inspections, all a week apart. There was a window in there where they could have done some work. I got the weather report that it was a dry week and a half where something could have been done if they wanted to. When the owner stopped in and talked to me on the 28th, we talked about the issues of why it hadn't been done. And at that point, he was saying it was, he thought the tenant was going to do it instead of himself. And that's when I told him, you have to get it done. He had it done in 3 days.
Okay.
So my position is still the same.
Okay. And, I mean, it seems like, I mean, we're not here to be punitive, we're here to get the work done, and that's the purpose of the inspection fees, is to get people's attention and get contact everyone. But what about, he says he made contact and didn't get back, what do we have to address that?
That I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know who he talked to or who he left the messages with. There's nothing in the file.
nothing in the
That-
file about any
Like an
contact?
email or a voicemail left with one of the inspectors. That's all I can go on.
Right.
Is when there's something documented. This happens all the time where the people come up here and say that I called, I left messages, but there's never, I have nothing to.
So there'd be records of an email or a phone call.
Well, if there was an email.
Email, that'd be a
we
record.
drop that in the file.
You know.
Yeah.
If there's a phone message, they usually respond and put that I called back or couldn't get a hold of them or got a hold of them.
Because that always seemed to be, when there was a problem with the, the committee got involved,
Yeah.
that seemed to be the problem with the communication issue,
Right.
which is what he seems to be stating, but from your end, you've got nothing that will,
Where is the property now in terms
It's
of?
compliant.
It's compliant.
he did it within 3 days.
Right.
We talked to him.
After he talked to me and I said, I'm not stopping the re-inspections, you just gotta get it done.
Mhm.
And he went and did it and it was done in 3 days, which I'm appreciative of, but unfortunately, it took, 6 months to get to that point?
Right.
Well, I'd like to ask Mr. Curry something, if I could.
Okay, but before we do that, I would like to make it clear for the record, there were more charges that could have been leveled, correct?
Oh, sure, yes.
And could we talk a little bit about that, to get that on the record?
Right, you could, in lieu of these re-inspection fees, that we have the option of giving a completion date, and if there's no compliance or communication, move forward with a citation. $691 is the starting citation fee. So this which is an option, we use it on occasion, but I'm dialing that back. The re-inspection fees are a more effective tool, we get quicker resolution. The other ones, using the citation process, as is known, it takes 2-3 months after the citation to maybe get compliance, and this is usually quicker.
So it's considerably less,
Quicker and less time
Okay.
intrusive relative to staff and admin and the legal team to follow up on the citation process.
Okay. Anyone have any questions for, yep?
Well, I do have a question because I watched this ad improvement services, so maybe it's not for you, but there seemed to be letters of documentation that the citizen had brought forward, and he didn't bring anything forward tonight. So were there any letters that you sent, or, there seemed to be more proof as I watched it on the INS tape. Maybe I was mistaken.
Okay, well, we'll get to him in a minute. Yep.
Okay.
Well, we'll see if he's got any documentation. Okay, yep, do you have any documentation?
No,
Mr.
what I
Gordon?
wanted to say is, like I said before, when I called to talk to him, he never answered me, so I called Mr. Weary up. He called me back, says, I got no response. It happened again, and I called and I got no response. I called Mr. Weary up, and I said, I'm not getting a response from them. He called up again, he got no response. Except through email. When you email him, he got a response. When you call him, he got a response. I called more than twice. A lot more than twice, and never got a response. He said, I don't do a lot of emails. So,
Yep.
Well, stick around. Paul, I was just gonna ask, do you remember calls or do you have documentation on calls from Alder Weary at all on this issue?
Email, I don't know if there were phone calls.
Or was there contact, anything at all in your office from Alder Weary?
I'd have to go back, I didn't look through the file to see what happened. It was a weird time.
Well, June 2nd, there
Yeah, I know, but I'm
was
just,
that from June 2nd, but,
but I'm just
mhm,
letting you know.
yep. Any
That's
other
all
que-
that's all I have right now.
Okay, thanks. All right. Anyone have any other questions or anything? Yep.
I was on,
Alder Burnett?
I'm on the committee where Mr. Corey spoke, and we had a pretty lengthy discussion, and I believe all of the alders, after listening to the discussion, I forget what the vote was, I forget, but anyways, I think we're all, if not supported by vote, supported by spoken word about the need to refund it. We've been doing this for a while, all of us, we get constituent concerns, and sometimes you just need to extend the benefit of the doubt. Alder Weary has been doing this for a while, he knows the district well, and if you recall a few months ago, he expressed some concern with the housing inspection area. We had a presentation at the full city council meeting, and we as alders were kind of told to back away a little bit and let the housing inspection area, do their thing. And so staff members spoke. There's a process. There's a $25 re-inspection fee, and then the absolute worst, and that I should say, I don't know if it's the absolute worst, but to me it would be a citation, which is a rather sizable amount. So the gentleman did come here a couple different times. He was at the full city council meeting last week. So here again, you got to vote your conscience and what you believe you should do. But given the fact that this has been an ongoing thing and things we have been working through, I would extend the benefit of the doubt to the gentleman and refund it as he requested. So that's just my opinion.
Anything you could add?
Maybe half, compromise. I really, maybe I'm thinking of a different thing that I saw, because I thought the person pulled out letters. Do you remember that?
There was another property with a parking, same
Was
situation.
same situation.
Alder Weary had
Okay.
accidentally sent it to Improvement and Services. It should have been here. That was a parking situation along
So
the
maybe
ridge.
that's what I
The
was
shadow,
thinking
I
of.
think they had quite a bit of documentation.
Okay. I mixed up the two.
Okay, all right.
I realize it's, the inspection department is, I think working diligently on quite a few of these issues, but every once in a while, something will come up where it's just kind of like, a horse apiece. So I would make a motion to cut it in half, $100. That's my motion.
Second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, motion by Alder Steuer, cut it in half, seconded by Alder Vanderleest. I'm kind of leaning that way too, not just because we don't have the documentation and it's a horse apiece. And, we want to be supportive of the staff. This is what they're really, the new policy is working out very well. But there may be some glitches in communication somehow. It seems that's, whenever there's an issue, that seems to be the sticking point, and there's no way to resolve that. And I think Mr. Corey's stick-to-itiveness, for a better word, I guess. He feels very strongly about this, obviously, so there must, he really lends credence that something was there. Although Weary isn't here, so he can't speak about the times he called and didn't get a response. Maybe that can come up at council. But certainly Alder Weary was aware of that at the INS. Did he mention anything at that? I didn't watch the video because I knew it was coming here. But anyway,
No.
I'm,
Mr. Curry wants to speak.
again, we didn't close the floor, did we?
No.
Okay, yep.
I guess I appreciate that, but I also understand that they're doing their job, but also, if it was just to replace a lawn, probably would have done a lot quicker. We had to move out about 6 or 8 yards of gravel. That's not a very easy task. So I'm saying that it would have been done a lot quicker, but gravel wasn't there. I mean, he extended the gravel like 4 or 5 years ago, and then he added some 2019, which I didn't know about either one of them. But to take that gravel off of there, is not a very easy task. You know, I'm not gonna run a Bobcat, I can't run a Bobcat. So it's a very hard job, and I understand where they're coming from, but also, I'm just saying, when I make the phone calls, if I don't get a response, how can we communicate, or get something done? So, I don't disagree with them, but also, there seems some compassion here, with no response with phone calls. So, that's all I have to say.
Yep.
I'm not trying to fight the whole thing, I'm just
Right,
saying,
I
you know.
Well, I think the motion I made was, you know, I mean, you can look at both sides and say, yep, you're right, you're wrong, you're wrong. And I'm looking at it as just a fair way to go.
Right,
Right.
but without documentation, it puts us in a bind, because we believe you and we also believe staff, you know, and it's.
Yeah, I mean,
So
they're
we're
fine,
just-
you know,
Yeah.
but if I had emailed, it'd been fine, but I don't email, I just
Right.
make phone calls.
Right,
And I didn't get
Hopefully-
through it, Mr. Weary, and then we went from there, so, I
Yep.
appreciate it.
Okay.
yeah, appreciate it.
So,
And the whole purpose, staff, is not trying to punish, but to get people's attention and get communication. That's what staff wants. If that communication is there, you wouldn't be getting the fines, but the communication didn't happen one way or another. I think your being here again and again and again gives you some credence, which I'm willing to give you credit for. So, we have the motion. In a second,
Motion to close the floor first.
yep,
motion to close the floor.
by Alder Steuer,
Second.
second by Alder Vanderleest, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the floor is now closed.
Redo my motion to split, make it
We don't,
$100.
the mo-
Well, the motion, because we had the floor open.
I think the motion's
But the
still
motion
good,
still
All right.
stands.
but
We'll
we
keep
just
it.
can't vote on it until the floor's closed.
Yep.
All right.
So
So,
we have a motion to approve the appeal and reduce the fees to $100 by Alder Steuer.
second by Alder Vanderleest.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. That passes unanimously. On to
Number 4.
4. Consideration with possible action and appeal by Daniel Stevens regarding the denial of his operator's license. Staff.
Staff's recommendation is to deny this appeal as the appellant is a convicted felon and habitual law offender for offenses that substantially relate to the license activity. We provided you a memo detailing the applicable convictions, with the felony conviction being highlighted.
Yep. That was a 2018,
Yes.
correct? Yes.
Mhm.
Okay,
Please concur.
concur.
Wait a second.
And the appellant is here.
Yep.
Yeah, go on, sorry.
Yep. So, motion to open the floor
Motion to open the floor.
by Alder Steuer,
Second.
second by Alder Vanderleest. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the floor is now open. There's someone here for this. Please, state your name and address.
I'm Daniel Stevens. I live at 1757 Beaver Dam Drive.
Okay.
I'm the applicant that the license got denied. I work at Titletown Brewing Company, been there since 2014. Mostly in a bar capacity. I've done some management work, some serving. I've done pretty much everything. I did get a DUI in 2018. I'm not trying to minimize, I'm not trying to make excuses. It wasn't alcohol related. Like I said, it was for drugs. It was for marijuana particularly, and we all might have different opinions on what we feel about the legal ramifications, but I owned it. It's something I've dealt with. Since then, I've done about 14 months on a court-ordered drug patch. Any violations, I would have been in jail. I completed that in June of this year. I also did AODA, did about 13 months of that, subject to random drug screenings, alcohol tests. I did a full psychiatric evaluation for any kind of issues, for behavior issues. No follow-up with that. What else did I do? I got a couple references. I've had 2 jobs in the past 11 years. Mostly at Titletown, and I worked at Lambeau Field. Lambeau Field's very different from Titletown, very strict, has NFL ordered rules that we got to adhere by. We're secretly shopped by mystery shoppers to test our ability to serve any customers, and anybody here who's been to Lambeau Field, it gets bad there. So I think it's important to tell everybody that I try not to blur the line of my personal life and the bad decisions I've made with my work. So That's important. I have a lot of documentation here. You guys are welcome to look at it.
Please.
I'm open to
Yes.
any questions that anybody has.
Okay.
Um,
You have a license already? This is a renewal?
I was granted a provisional one. I applied for one in November, and I didn't get one. They gave me a provisional license, and they said you can follow the steps to appeal it, and this is the first thing they said to do. I was mailed a letter. They said, get some stuff here to try to appeal it. So I reached out to a lot of business people. Mr. Weicker couldn't be here today. He was pretty receptive, though. Sean Zimbardo is a former GM there for 11 years. He sent me a pretty good review. My boss at Lambeau Field, I'll send her a reference letter. So it's not like I came here and I didn't do anything I need to do. So some very private medical evaluations from psych and AODA, but it's all free to you guys to look at. I wish we would have got more copies for everybody to look at, but I...
That's fine, that's fine, that's fine.
Okay.
Um,
Should go to-
Go ahead.
Thank you.
I guess I wanted to ask if, Mr. Weicker, if he had a letter from him or anybody for...
I wasn't lucky enough to get one. I emailed him this morning. He responded right away and says, Dan, I can't be there. He asked me what time the meeting was. Didn't get a response. He's a very busy guy.
Well, I know that.
Mr. Weicker, he's kind of distanced himself from the brewing part, the brewery part. He has a different roles in the company. It's a weird time at Titletown, and I'm just trying to help our brewery get back on the right path we were. It's a very competitive market.
Who's the person that you talk with or reply to or report to normally?
Alex Herscher.
Alex Herscher.
He's the assistant GM.
Okay.
Since the past 6 months, we've had 3 GMs. It's a weird time, man, and I think for the past 7 years, I've been a consistent employee where I'm there, so Alex is a good friend. He's assistant GM. We have an interim GM right now. I'm not sure of his status.
Okay. We're just looking for some documentation from folks that know you and
Yeah.
that type of thing.
Like I said, I've had 2 jobs in the past 11 years, mostly they're both with Lambeau and Titletown.
And what were your job duties? That you didn't need a liquor license for those?
Lambeau Field's very particular about their stuff. It almost feels like they'll get one if you have to get one, but as long as there is a licensed employee on the premises.
Oh, sure, right, then you don't.
And that's kind of what I've been operating with at Titletown, but I don't want to be a burden to Titletown, man. They've done so much to me. I'm just trying to give back, so that's how I feel anyway.
Here's something from Titletown. So you have served alcohol, but it was under the guy, so
Yeah.
this is just to get, okay.
And like I said, I don't ever want to make excuses, minimize, or justify anything I've done in the past. I think personal accountability is important, and to own it and make the best of that situation is important to me, so.
I just want to state, you do realize that the reason staff denied it was there is a state law?
I did, I read up on it.
Okay, then that's how this is all
Yeah.
happening. Okay, question?
Mr. Stigley, it sounds to me you're on the right track as far as your rehabilitation and things all the steps you're taking. I'd like to give you another chance if in other words, the state doesn't override what we do here today. I don't think they do. Is that correct, our city attorney?
I don't think the state is cognizant of what we do here today, per se. Yeah, no.
I'd like to give him another chance, get another chance to get his license.
I appreciate what you brought in too, and appreciate your testimony, so I will concur with that.
Awesome, thank you.
So,
Yeah, I usually, the way the law is written, we have a little wiggle room.
Okay.
Fortunately, otherwise we'd have to, at least I feel I'd have to, if I took an oath to uphold the law,
Yeah,
even if
I
I don't
caught up
agree,
on it this
even if I don't
morning.
agree
Yeah.
with it,
Mhm.
but there is a little wiggle room. Usually it's more helpful if there's more time span, but certainly you have crunched a lot into that small time span, and I think you are, and you've been serving alcohol, just not under your own license, so you've got a lot of good people speaking up for you.
And if you guys see Brent, you can ask him, say Dan's been there for a long time, he's a good dude. Brent's open to writing a letter if it helps, but we go to the city council. And I don't want to throw anybody's name around, like, I did this
Right.
myself, and I can own everything I did, so it takes a lot to ask somebody, say, hey man, can you write me a reference letter, because I'm in a jam, I need your help, so. It took a lot to ask anybody for help, but it is what it is.
Well, it helps,
It does,
because
it does.
it shows that you've got that support, and that
Yeah.
makes a big diff.
Sure,
Showing
thank you.
So-
proactive about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
That's
exactly.
good.
So,
I think,
motion?
Motion to approve this.
Motion to approve,
second.
second by Alder Steuer. Thanks for coming in. Oh, motion to close the floor.
Motion to close the floor.
And so unless there's anything else you could add?
No, thank you, I appreciate you
Okay,
guys
please.
listening.
Yeah, it
Please.
does, go ahead.
All right, thank you.
Sorry about that.
Motion to close the floor by Alder Steuer. Seconded by Alder Vanderleest. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Floor is now closed. Motion to accept the appeal by Alder Vanderleest, seconded by Alder Steuer. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that passes unanimously. Like I said, council has the final say. We don't meet till council till March 3rd.
Should I submit any other stuff for the city council to review, like just whoever, I mean?
It's possible someone could pull this item and want to talk to you about it or something. I
Okay.
mean, we always recommend you be there. I mean, usually, they're pretty good about accepting the committee's
Should
work.
I show up for that meeting, or should I
It
just?
wouldn't hurt.
It wouldn't hurt.
It wouldn't hurt. I can move it, move the agenda item up so you're not there all night.
I'll be there.
And if you got any other documentation, bring it.
Okay, all right, awesome.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Number 5.
Number 5, a request by Alder Johnson for consideration and possible action to create a diversity and inclusion commission that will properly support the roles and responsibilities of the diversity and inclusion coordinator. They'd be coordinated. And secure proper return on investment for taxpayers and benefit to all residents. Alder Johnson could not be here. He did give me a call, and we spoke a little bit. Really what he's looking forward for is just to refer this to staff, especially it'd be good to, we do have the coordinator on board, to have that person involved in how we're going to comprise this commission. If we're going to comprise this commission, I don't know if any other city has such a commission, but that's something staff could look into, and we can go forward on this. But I think if we just refer this to staff, that's all he's looking for, and I don't know what else we could do. If anybody has any comment on it, or
Are we on the next item?
we're on the commission.
Okay, I have a comment.
Yes.
So I talked to
Alder Steuer.
Alder Johnson, yes.
Dorf?
And, yeah, I'm working on something, in fact, tomorrow, I mean, at 5 o'clock, and he's aware of that. He didn't know that. He said if I'd known that when I made the communication, I wouldn't have made the communication, but it was already made. So he's aware of that, and I think he'd be fine with it, just, like, don't do anything right now. You could say refer to staff, I guess you could. It's already working through staff, so.
Right, so,
Okay, so just so you know, he
Yep.
is aware, and he was fine with that. Okay.
you've been breaking bricks?
Yeah, no. I wish.
So I'll take a motion.
Motion to refer to staff.
Action to refer to staff by Alder Vanderleest.
Second.
Seconded by Alder Steuer. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? That's going to staff. Thank you. Informational. The liquor violation report from the police department for February 10th, 2020.
There were no violations during this time.
What a great city.
Everyone behaved.
Motion to receive and place on file.
Motion to receive and place on file by Alder Vanderleest, seconded by Alder Steuer. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? That passes unanimously.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Alder Vanderleest, seconded by Alder Steuer. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, staff. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Well done.
Yeah.
Anyways, he's the gentleman I told you about the golf cart resolution. Dave is working